Hey, what's going on, AFC? Welcome to the last video of the summer. This is us closing out Galatians. So this summer we just walked through Galatians, and today what I want to do is kind of give you the 30,000 foot view over what we've learned. So it's been a couple months now, so hopefully some of this will refresh your memories about what Galatians was and what it addressed. And why Paul wrote that letter. And so Galatians was a letter to the province of Galatia, and Paul had visited there and had begun to hear these rumors that these men had snuck into the churches and were preaching a gospel contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ, and so that's why Paul wrote his letter. So in chapter 1, what Paul does is he addresses them and then addresses the fact that they tried to deny Paul's apostleship. So chapter 1 is Paul proving that he is an apostle, is proving that he is talking to the people of Galatia, and he is talking to them about how the gospel came to him and how it's Christ that has been working in him, not man, and how he's not pleasing man, how he's not doing any of those things, but he is serving Christ and serving Christ alone. Then in chapter 2 he moves to how he rebuked Peter, and then how we're justified by faith. And so we have one of our key terms, one of our key words was justification. And so what he's addressing there is how are we justified? Are we justified by the law? Are we justified by right action? Are we justified by doing good deeds? And if our good deeds outweigh our bad deeds, or if we follow the law to a certain extent but not to another extent, what's kind of the scale there? How are we justified within that? And chapter 3 he does a comparison of justification by law or by faith. So he asks some questions. Are you justified by the law, or are you justified by faith? And he points back to Abraham and how he was justified. And then in chapter 4 he talks about how we're sons through Jesus Christ and through the promise given to Abraham back in the first book of the Bible, Genesis, and how that promise has for years and years and years now come to its fulfillment. Chapter 5 he moves into the practical application. Since Christ has set you free, since you are set free by the cross of Christ and not by the law, and you are justified by the cross of Christ and not by the law, this is how you should walk. This is what it looks like when you're walking by the flesh. These are the desires of the flesh, and these are the desires of the Spirit. And here's how you walk when you're walking in the Spirit, and here's how you walk when you're walking in the flesh. And then in chapter 6 he closes out the letter telling them to look after one another. Hey, look, this race, it's not easy. It's in fact very hard. You need to watch out for one another. You need to look after your brother. You need to look after your sister. And you need to run this race with them with a caring heart and with the spirit of gentleness. And then he closes out the letter, and that's the letter of Galatians. And it's very Pauline in the way that he structures his letter. So he goes from explaining the gospel. In the majority of Paul's letter, he will always explain the gospel first. And he explains the gospel and then works into the practical application and how then that works. How, okay, if the gospel is true, this is how you should live. So I hope you guys enjoyed the summer series over Galatians. I know we did. We hope you had a great summer. We are excited for school to start and get the big AFC kick back off.
Thanks to your love, every eye was guided. Thanks to your love, every T was crossed, and you'll finish what it is you started.
Color rights, everybody. My hero.
You're the author of a story of